Hey guys. um, really quick show of hands. How many of you guys are like in the humanities, work in humanities fields? All right, great. This presentation is about qualitative data and how it's important. So you guys already know about that. It's not going to be really beneficial to you guys, but for all the STEM majors, this is for you guys. Really important for you guys to know. I guess I'll just start. My presentation is about the importance of gathering qualitative data. Which is, something that I find really important. All right, I'll start. Hi, my name is Sam. I'm a Kilachand senior. Hopefully, I'm about to get my undergrad degree in mathematics and computer science. And today, I want to talk about my Keystone stories within. So, first of all, what is a story? To me, a story is a piece of information that allows you to form a personal connection with a person, so that can be something like a narrative. But I studied computer science and math, so I don't really get to be involved in that process very much. So what I decided to do for my Kilachand Keystone was design a book along with the website entitled Stories Within, which contained excerpts from students about a wide variety of topics. And my goal for the project was to get about 50 interviews. But if you read the description, I did not get 50 interviews. I got 101 interviews, guys. Thank you. Yeah. Was it a lot of work? Yeah. Was it worth it? Moving on. And so this book really highlights the journey of a lot of students, specifically low-income POC or first-generation students, what they went through and how the college process kind of changed them. So this book kind of acts like insight into what college is actually like, and it provides something called qualitative data, which is something that I feel is sorely needed in data-driven research, but is greatly underutilized. I really want to talk about the importance of stories, especially in the realm of research, but first, let me tell you guys a story. This is kind of embarrassing, but sophomore year, I was working on a project for the Community Service Center where I match volunteers to community service programs. And the thing is, at the time, I was like a huge nerd, all right? Like I had this idea that I can make this algorithm that can match the partners to the students. And I believed that if I got it just right, it would work perfectly and everything would work out. But the project wasn't working as I wanted it to. And I went to my really smart roommate, On, for help, shout out On. And he told me that the math was right, but the idea was wrong. The thing is, community service is a really personal endeavor. And a lot of the work is interpersonal, it's human-to-human interaction. And some people might be more passionate about other things or better suited to help other people. So it's not just something you can put into numbers. And that tells me, On told me that the problem with CS majors is that they try to apply CS to everything, but the world isn't a giant data set. It's much more complex than that. It wasn't until I started understanding people and meeting them that I really got to understand what they needed out of me. And so that leads me to what a story can do, which is things like this. In science, we build theories, and theories are based off of models. Models can be based off of algorithms, but those models are really subjective. It came as a surprise to me going into STEM that a lot of the choices we make in science are kind of arbitrary. It's just based off of our own experiences, and those experiences are informed through stories. Same kind of thing with non-numerical insights. Those are pieces of information that can't be condensed down to a number, right? Stories can capture parts of reality that numbers just can't. And they're really complex things that humans are really good at understanding, but numbers are bad at describing. And finally, the thing that's really relevant to me and my projects is the ability to inform decision-making. So these things can inform us on how we interpret the data and guide us to make implementation. So I think this quote really sums it up. Qualitative research allows you to ask questions that can't be easily put into numbers. All right. This is a really great quote by one of my inspirations, Dr. Anthony Jack, who wrote the book, The Privileged Poor, where he talks about the programs for low-income students, how they exist, but they struggle to help students because they aren't really listening to the students and their needs. He told his own story in which he went to an elite private university. He was given financial aid officer, but he couldn't receive help from them. He says that my financial aid officer didn't understand why I worked so many hours or why I picked up even more hours at times. So my book kind of tries to help people understand context a little bit more. The question I asked is, what are the experiences of college students and what can we learn? The process kind of started out with the idea of me wanting to interview marginalized students. But if you read the book, you'll kind of see that it's not just low income, it's not just POC, it's not just first gen students. As the book transitioned into a final project, I kind of realized that narrowing it down to marginalized is actually a bit difficult. There's some nuances. There are programs at BU that are catered towards low income, first gen students, but these programs wouldn't just let me like talk directly to the students for privacy reasons, which makes sense. But there's also a problem that some students find it hard to label themselves as marginalized. For some, it can be uncomfortable to associate themselves with that. And for others, they don't consider themselves to be a part of that category, even if they do fit the criteria. And so I decided to broaden my scope, which was a difficult decision, but I decided to reach out to other students and kind of build out my network from there. So the interviews kind of started out as something that I did through asking about their pre-high school or pre-college time and then going into who they are now after college. And that kind of created a chronological approach where I can get a narrative. Also, this whole project was way out of my comfort zone. I deal with numbers all day. I'm not good at any of this interviewing stuff, so I kind of just jumped into it. If you guys are curious or want to do something like this, I kept everything in a spreadsheet like a data scientist would. I made all my appointments on Calendarly. I used Pair.ai to transcribe everything. I used InDesign to make the book and BookBaby for publishing, if you guys are curious about any of that. Because I couldn't resist, here's some stats for the participants. You can see the first generation, low income. Here's the demographics for ethnicity, and here's the demographics for major. All of this is also in the book as well, so you can check it out after. But I know you guys don't actually care about any of this. You guys just want to hear the stories. I get it. I'll move on to that. Let me show you some examples. So here's an example from one student that said, I came into BU being responsible for my own income. My parents don't provide for me. They're on their own, I'm on their own. And so I had to learn things like doing your taxes, buying your own insurance, managing your own finances, things like that. Here's another student, Here's another student that says a similar thing. There's just a lot you have to learn. The biggest part is learning how to say no. If they're like, we should catch up and grab food, saying like, actually, can we just eat at the dining hall, things like that. Here's another student, I just thought this one was funny. It says, Boston needs more fun little sightseeing things, like little swings and stuff. It makes life fun. All right, cool. Here's another student I interviewed who said, as a low-income student, you're going to interact with rich people more and more. So for some people, there's a journey involved with this as well. Here's one more. It says, Boston Transit sucks. It takes you about an hour to get anywhere, and the T is about walking speed. I agree. And just for the last question, I decided to compile some similar answers. So this is college is. This person says, college is a place to just have fun and enjoy your life. This person says, college is a nice reset. This person says, college is not really a space where you're going to change the world as much as authority figures declare that it is. And finally, college is rough, not gonna lie. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Feel free to scan the QR code to check out the website, check out the book. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, as your advisor on this project.
Hi, Professor Dawson.
Hi. Did anything surprise you? Did anything sort of stand out in all the interviews that you did? You know, anything you thought, oh, I didn't realize that?
Yeah, tons of things. I mean, like, honestly, too many to count. But like, one of the biggest things is that a lot of people are going through similar things, even if they're from completely different backgrounds. I had a lot of people that I thought who were like initially very outgoing people be like, oh, I was actually very shy, you know, or I actually struggled a lot to make friends, even though like I knew people who had a pretty large network at BU, and so that was a cool thing to learn about people. So, any other questions?
I know you really worked hard on this.
Thanks.
So
that's my
nice
goal.
job. What was your favorite part about working on this book?
Gonna be cheesy, but I loved listening to people's stories and just meeting all these people. I think everybody had something interesting to say, and it was really nice just to like sit down and just talk with people, have a conversation. So definitely my favorite part. It was not designing the book. That was crazy.
Congrats. I was also honored to be featured in the book. So I wanted to ask how you made a connection with this project, with the book that I actually met him as well. And obviously his book was about how elite universities like Boston University are failing disadvantaged students, and you basically concluded with like people are not listening to students, right, and their needs. And I feel like this story project was one way of at least encapsulating the stories and needs of students. But obviously, like, is this just going to be something that is wrapped up in a book, or is this going to be a tangible, like, public, I guess, sent to, institution, or like our institution, I guess, to see some tangible changes?
Yeah, something I talk about in the book a little bit is that this book is not a solution at all. Like, this is barely even a first step. I think that along with this project, I did a research paper that involves some steps that universities like BU can take. But I think, as we've seen time and time again, like BU or college administration in general needs to listen to students, and that they have to be willing to have conversations and understand the needs of students before they start to make these programs available and put funding into these things. So. This is a good first step, but there's a lot more to the process than this is.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to the break.
Thank you, guys. There's food outside. Also, if you want a book, I'm going to pass out books outside. All right, thank you.